Demand 100 grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Today we're gonna have a fun little conversation. I did a little short, I think it was yesterday, saying that I'm gonna do a string of videos ranking the Pistons' big four, Cade, Ivy, Asar, and Durant, at their respective positions. Where do they rank in terms of the talent, in terms of the depth that's in the NBA today? So we're gonna start with Jaden Ivey. And so I think it should be a pretty good discussion. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Really enjoy and appreciate all the community and support that we have here. I'm a little bit out of it because yesterday I was outside, your boy was outside, the shenanigans, it was a good time. So I'm getting started a little bit late on this live, but I hope y'all enjoy it still. Um, but let's just dive into it. I think the first part that I want to cover is just going through the top shooting guards in the NBA today. And not just the top shooting guards, but I think I want to just rank all 30 starting shooting guards. Just kind of see what kind of the basic kind of landscape of the league looks like. But then as we begin to order them, go back and say, now where does Jaden Ivey fit? Not just where does Jaden Ivey fit right now at the start of the season, but at the end of this video, I want to be able to rank where do we think he's going to end up by the end of the season. All right, so we're going to start with the list, top shooting guards. We're going to do all 30. We're going to rank them. I kind of have mine started a little bit, and then we're going to do it. I'll do it together, and then we're going to see where does Jaden Ivey fit in terms of where he ranks at the beginning of this season, and then we're going to do where do we think he ends up by the end of the season. All right, so y'all ready to hop on board and get going? Let's do it. Sandro, what's good, man? It's always good to have you in the chat. Appreciate you, bro. All right, so let's start. We're gonna go through the NBA teams in alphabetical order. I'm gonna give you who I think is gonna be their starting shooting guard, and then we're gonna. Oh, the mic's not working. So, can you hear me? All right. Give me a thumbs up. All right now, it shows that it's on. See the light? Wow. Sports Times. Can you hear me? All right. I can always go to the old school headphones if I need to. Always ready for the alternate. It's fine? All right. Got you. All right. So let's start off with the Atlanta Falcons. I think it's kind of basic. This one is easy. Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels, man, I think he's the clear cut shooting guard for the Atlanta Hawks. I think that he is someone who comes into next season with a lot of expectations. So I think as we rank where these shooting guards are now, I think he's somebody who could end up a lot higher when we do the end of the season ranking as well. But I have him as their starting shooting guard for the Atlanta Hawks. The next one for the Boston Celtics. I think it's pretty clear. Anthony Simons, right? I don't think they have another shooting guard that. I don't think it's going to be Sam Hauser or anybody like that. Anthony Simons getting paid what, like 19 million. No, Derek White I think is their starting point guard. Point guard. Do you think Derek White is going to end up being shooting guard and Peyton Pritchard is their starting point guard? Is that what you're saying? I just don't think. I don't think Peyton Pritchard is a starting level point guard, and I don't think that he gives you so much as a potential starter that it circumvents what Anthony Simons gives you as a scorer next to Jaylen Brown. And I think that that's what they really need next to Jaylen Brown. They need another scorer. They need somebody who can take some pressure off of him so that defenses can't just load up on him uh, and try to, trap him, double team him constantly, and really kind of bog down their offense. But who knows what their year is going to look like? It could be a gap year. It could be a let's see what we got in Jaylen Brown year. Who knows? But right now, I would say Anthony Simons is a starting shooting guard. He started in Portland. They traded away Drew Holiday for him. And so I think that that's who probably ends up being their shooting guard. Yes, Peyton Pritchard is a point guard, but I think Derek White ends up being their starting point guard alongside Anthony Simons. And then they have Jaylen Brown at the three. To me, that just seems to fit a little bit more. And I'm pretty sure that they want to see what they have in Anthony Simons in a winning situation before they go on and bring someone else into that spot. Also, if you have Anthony Simons, who's not the best defender, you're definitely going to want a strong point of attack defender to make sure that your defense doesn't break down. So, considering kind of what their guard rotation looks like, and Peyton Pritchard has kind of been their incumbent sixth man, I don't see them necessarily trying to, retool the whole ship. I don't think they're trying to move people out of position. I think they want to keep as much consistency as possible, especially considering that Al Horford, I don't think he's resigned still. So uh, they may be looking at a lot of new pieces already. So you're probably going to want as much stability as possible. And that looks like keeping Derek White in that starting guard role, Peyton Pritchard in the six man role to run that bench unit with Sam Hauser. Um, yeah, and probably seeing where things land after that. But that's who I got. All right, Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets. I think it's Cam Thomas. I don't think that they've made. I don't think that they've gotten him re-signed yet, but I still think um, that's who they end up going with. I mean, they don't have another necessarily 20 plus point per game guard in that rotation. Uh, when I see the guards that they picked up, especially in the draft, a lot of them are facilitating guards, guys who can get downhill but aren't necessarily ready for major minutes. So I would have Cam Thomas. I would have Cam Thomas. What do you guys think? Is Cam good? See, I'm pulling up the roster. I don't think that they have another shooting guard on that. Let me see. Brooklyn. They got Michael Porter Jr. Terrence Mann. I don't think he circumvents Cam Thomas. I think they get him re-signed. Drake Powell. I don't even think that he played in summer league. Keon Johnson. I like Keon a lot. I just don't think that he's a starter though. I don't think he's a starter. And there's a good chance that Terrence Mann starts at the three. So I think if they have Terrence Mann playing that small forward position, I think Cam ends up at the shooting guard. He's their only chance and chooses. Yeah, I agree, Jason. I agree, Jason. Facts. Sandro, as of now, she's probably me. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. All right, let's go on and move it on. Chicago. Who y'all got? I got Kobe White. I think that's pretty clear, right? Kobe White, starting shooting guard for the Chicago Bulls. I don't think anyone else. You know, I don't even know if Dalen Terry is an NBA player. Io DeSumo. I think he might end up being their starting point guard next to Kobe White. Cause I don't. I just heard a little whisper. Just heard a little whisper from one of my Golden State Warriors, uh, content creators. There's a chance that there's a Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga trade potentially coming, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it all the way. If Jonathan Kuminga goes to the Chicago Bulls, they have a superstar. They have a superstar. And you give me Kobe White. If you have a lineup of Desumu, Kobe White, Jonathan Kuminga, Matas Buzelis, and Vucevic, that's gonna be a fun as hell team. That team's gonna be fun as hell. That's just gonna be. I'm here for all of it. That's gonna be fun as hell. I don't know if they're playing worthy. Who knows? But Kaminga's gonna go crazy. Um, who knows? But I think right now, back to the topic at hand, I think Kobe White is their incumbent shooting guard. I don't think Isaac Okoro circumvents him or Kevin Herter. Um, Kobe White is their main guy. He's also in a contract year. So they're going to want to see what they have in him, maybe one more year, or at least boost up his trade value to be able to get something back for him. So that's what I kind of see coming. Are we all there on that? Kobe White? Buzela, yeah. I got you. Let me see. Yeah, free that young man, please. Yeah, Kaminga needs to be free. All right, let's move on. Charlotte. Now, this is a little interesting when we get to Charlotte. We have LaMelo Ball. Um, no outside shooting, but it will be a defensive team. True. I think Vucevic operates more and more as a stretch big also. Um, okay, so Charlotte. Uh, okay, you say Brandon Miller. I don't think Miller is a shooting guard. I think he's a small forward. That's 6'9", 6'9", 7'2" wingspan. I mean, he's got a really nice game that, young, early Paul George type crafty. I think he could defend the shooting guard position, but I think he's a small forward. I think their incumbent shooting guard from last season was Josh Green. They do have Pat Connaughton, Con Knipple, and they have, what's the name that they just traded for? Even though it's not listed here on Basketball Reference, it should be. But they traded for Colin Sexton. And Colin Sexton, to me, has a lot of offensive pop. A lot. I don't know about defense, but a lot of offensive pop. You can use him in two different ways. You can bring him in as a six-man off the bench. I don't think he necessarily runs a second unit. I think he's more of a scoring second unit lead guard. Uh, I think he can be a lead guard in a second unit, but he's not a facilitator. So I think he comes in as a shooting guard. You think Josh Green? No. Josh Green is like 6'5". He's like 6'5". He is strong and sturdy, but I don't think that he's a small forward at all. Um, yeah, I would say Colin Sexton is their most talented shooting guard on that team, though Josh Green might fit a little bit better defensively. So we'll see. I would say right now it's Josh Green, but Colin Sexton is a legitimate starting shooting guard. So I tell you what, on my list, if there's kind of a split between guys, I'll list both of them. So let's go Colin Sexton. I'm gonna put him down with Josh Green. Because Josh Green to me is just kind of that utility guy. Just he's gonna knock down corner threes. He's gonna defend the best perimeter player, or he could be your point of attack. Uh, and he's willing to kind of take on that hustle, dirty work type of a role that I don't necessarily see Colin Sexton taking on. Definitely don't see LaMelo Ball taking that on. I don't think Con Knipple has the ability to take that on. So I think Josh Green might be the best option, but who knows? Coming out of training camp, who knows? All right, let's go to the next team. Who do we got? The Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, that's Donovan Mitchell. That's easy. And we can go ahead and put him at the top of this shooting guard list because we already know probably where he's going to end up. If not at the top, close to it. Donovan Mitchell. All right. Now we've got the Dallas Mavericks. Who's their starting shooting guard? Is it Clay still? Because Clay to me is more of a small forward at this point in his career. I don't think he can guard shooting guards, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he can guard a shooting guard. And if you got D'Angelo Russell as your starting point guard, you're going to need capture the flag. You're going to need a legitimate off guard utility, kind of a Josh Green type, lockdown on defense. You got Cooper. So here's the thing: what's interesting? You got PJ Washington. All right, so this was real. It's real interesting. I'm surprised Dallas hasn't made a move to kind of clear up some of the rotation minutes. But if you got Anthony Davis at the 4, you've got Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford at the 5, and then you have. Let's take a look at this. You got PJ Washington, Cooper Flag, and Najee Marshall, and Klay Thompson. All four of those guys can play the small forward position. PJ Washington was their kind of incumbent small forward last year. Their GM is not really the sharpest tool. Now, I keep trying to tell y'all that move to trade Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers was not a general manager move. That was a team owner and NBA move. The NBA said, hey, we need to make sure we are positioned for the next 10 to 15 years of this league. We need to make something happen. And I think the league came together with the owners and said, let's make this trade. Literally. I think that's what happened. And if you, D Wade actually had a similar quote when he was being interviewed about it, where he said, you don't trade a franchise player of that magnitude simply because the general manager is trying to get more defensive. Hell no. All of those moves are run past the team owner. And a move like that, understanding that Luka Doncic and what he's worth to that franchise, remember, LeBron James is probably worth close to $1 billion in terms of revenue that he brings to a franchise. If he goes to your franchise, the value of that franchise is going to raise probably close to $1 billion just in total collateral economic opportunities. Not just ticket sales, not just jersey sales, not just now you can charge more for advertisement, which grosses in the hundreds of millions in terms of what's inside of that stadium, not just in terms of local television deals, but also because you raise the value of all those things collectively. Now your brand is worth more as well. So that branding now has a value that carries outside of just even basketball. Now you're looking at investments. Now you're looking at the collective owners who are now buying the Los Angeles Lakers, who have raised their brand of their other companies, right? So there's so much, I can get into all the economics on that. All it's to say is that you don't trade a Luka Doncic level player that's doing all that for you if it's not one of those top down moves. It's like, look, hey, this is for the betterment of all of us. And I tell you what, we're going to give you the number one pick in the draft. We're going to give you Cooper Flag. How does that sound? Like, yo, it's chess, not checkers. It's chess, not checkers. Some of y'all are just thinking, oh, it's just a one-off. I can't believe this guy. It's billions. You're talking about billions of dollars, bro. You're talking about billions of dollars, and you have a legally sanctioned monopoly. So you have no competition in the United States with the NBA. Legally sanctioned monopoly. You can go behind closed doors and be like, okay, we need to collude on this. We're gonna come together and make this move. That's what I 100% believe that's what happened. All this to say is the Dallas Mavericks are now in a position where that forward area, they have a huge logjam. It's a huge logjam. They need to free up some of those players. More than likely, it'll be Najee Marshall or PJ Washington, because PJ Washington is a free agent after this year, and they're probably going to be looking at him saying, you know what? We got Najee Marshall on a great deal. He's only a year older. He really produced for us last year. And we have him for an extra year. And PJ Washington at 26 is probably looking for a big next contract. So I wouldn't be shocked if they don't look to move on from PJ Washington, if not by the beginning of the season, so that they can free up those minutes, because Cooper Flag needs to play, Najee Marshall needs to play, and Klay Thompson is still there getting paid for the next couple of years. And he really doesn't defend well at the shooting guard position. So I don't necessarily think that they have a solid shooting guard option there. Max Christie, maybe? Max Christie? Maybe it's Klay for the short term, and then they figure out something later on. What do you guys think? To me, the trade was bad because they did not get someone better. Man, you're calling it bad from a competitive standpoint, but that's because you're looking at it in a vacuum. Anthony Davis, if he's on your team, you're a playoff team. There's very few players in the league, in the NBA, that you can go, if we have him, we are in the playoffs, no matter what. That's a handful of guys. That's I'd probably say 15 guys in the league that you could point to. If that person is on your team, you are in the playoffs. Doesn't matter who else you have around them. You can have trash around them. They will get you into the playoffs. Anthony Davis is one of those guys. So you traded a superstar, a young superstar, for an older superstar, but you still got a superstar. Max Christie, my young goat. Quick question. How you feeling on the Cooper Flag hype? You believe or no? For me, mostly yes, but we have to wait and see. I would say when it comes to Cooper Flag, yes, he's legit. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar. I don't think he's going to be uh, a guy that can be your best scorer on a championship team. I do think he can be your second best player on a championship team, like a Chet Holmgren or even a Aaron Gordon type of player where he's so important to what you do. Your superstar is your Nikola Jokic, right? But the second most important person is probably Aaron Gordon on that Denver team. Jamal Murray is great. I probably have to say Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are like equally as important. They have totally different roles, but equally extremely important for a championship contending team. That's why I think Cooper Flag ends up being. Probably your third best scorer on a championship team, or your third biggest scorer on a championship team, but potentially your second best player, where he just does so many things defensively. He does a lot of little things, moves well off the ball, can do a little pick and roll action, can post up, knock down shots, take advantage of mismatches. Just a really all time high level utility player a la Aaron Gordon. I don't think he handles as well as Gordon does or passes, but the rebounding, the defense, the versatility, transition play, off ball movement, all those things, I think he's super high level. And he has such a great motor. I just think that it just translates. It translates. So I think Cooper Flag is legit in that regard. All right, let's move on from the Dallas Mavericks. We got to get to the rest of these teams. Denver Nuggets. Let's see. Oh, wait, did we even say somebody for the Dallas Mavericks? I think we just going with Klay Thompson. Let's go with Klay Thompson. I think at this point in his career, I think actually, it looks like we may end up getting a skinny Klay this upcoming season. So who knows? I think he might have a pretty good year. I'm going to rank him a little bit higher. Max Christie, I don't know if he's a starter level. Yeah, I don't even know if that's worth. But, I'll throw him down there. All right, Max Christie. Put him down here with Josh Green. All right, let's move on. We've got the Denver Nuggets. Who's their starting shooting guard? I believe that's Christian Brown. All right. Christian Brown. Any dispute there? I think that's pretty set, right? He said Klay, after being with Meg Thee Stallion, might be a top 5 all-time player. Hey, shit. Ain't mad at all, my boy. Ain't mad at all. You know what I mean? There's worse ways to spend your twilight years of your NBA career. Worse ways. You know what I mean? If we get skinny Klay, I would be too. Right? If we get a skinny Klay, I think he could be nice out there in Dallas. And I think that she's from Houston. So, that's going to bring a lot of Texas fans out. Yeah, I think they're going to do it big. Okay, all right. Denver, Dallas, Detroit. Here we go. Man of the hour. Jaden Ivey. Where he starts this year in terms of ranking. I'm going to let that be a mystery for now. But let's throw him in. I think There's no dispute. Jaden Ivey is the starting shooting guard for the Detroit Pistons. If you believe otherwise, you got to convince me because I think it's pretty cut and dry. All right, let's move on. We've got the Golden State Warriors. Who is there? I think it's Moses Moody. Moses Moody was starting for them at the shooting guard position. Um, Even though it's weird because if we're honest, Draymond is their real point guard. Stephen Curry is their like guard, shooting guard, point guard. He'll get some facilitation in there. And then Moody is their kind of utility guy, someone who could take on a lot of the defensive pressure along the perimeter. Not necessarily great at the point of attack, but good enough on the perimeter with his length to be able to bottle up most guards. So I think it's Moses Moody. Um, yeah. We about to talk about it, bro. We about to talk about it. Let's just get through the list, and then we gonna rank where he's starting, and then where we think he's gonna end by the end of the season. All right. Golden State Warriors. Moses Moody. I don't think it's Buddy Hield. I don't think he defends well enough. Um, yeah, I think we're going with Moses Moody. Where would I rank Moses Moody? You know, he's got a lot to prove, if I'm honest. So I got to bring him down here with Josh Green. Just hasn't had an opportunity to prove himself. Steve Kerr effect. No young players really look good. No young players really develop that well. So I would say Moses Moody is going to be pretty low on this list. But here's the hoping for a breakout. All right, Jonathan Kuminga too. He's in the same situation as Kuminga. Yep, but slightly different only because he already re-signed. But I'll say this though: if Moses Moody had gone to another franchise when he got drafted, I think he's a starter, and I think that he would have started probably a couple years ago, just because of his scoring ability. He's like a mix between Rip Hamilton and Michael Redd. That's how I would describe Moses Moody. But he's got a longer wingspan, and he's a little bit sturdier, kind of like sturdy like a Michael Redd, but longer wingspan to give you more defensively. But he's somewhere between there. Um, think a less athletic Aaron Neesmith body type. Yeah, kind of in there. He kind of reminded me of Monta Ellis a little. Nah, Monte was a straight bucket, very athletic, super fast twitch, but only about 6'2", 6'3". Moses Moody is like a legit, I want to say like 6'5", 6'6", with I want to say a 7-foot wingspan. I'll pull it up real quick. He's got like really dope measurables when you look at a draft pick. Um, Pull it up here. What's this? Let's see. Draft measurements. Let's see. Y'all can look it up for me. I think Moses Moody is like a legit 6'6", 6'5", 6'6" without shoes. So he's like 6'6", a little bit over that, with shoes on. Great measurables. Yeah, he's got a legit wingspan. So I would say Moses Moody, for me, is their starting shooting guard. All right. Let's get on past the Golden State Warriors. Houston Rockets, starting shooting guard. It's weird, but let's just say right now, I think we have to go with Amen Thompson. Now I don't think they start Pajimski because they need a ball handler off the bench, and I don't think that they have another one. Um, yeah, especially if you got Buddy Hield. You need someone who can set him up, facilitate him, get him off the ball. Uh, but let's look at the Houston Rockets. Oh, excuse me. Their starting lineup, more than likely, is going to be Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., who they just extended, Amen Thompson, Fred VanVleet, who they just extended. Amen Thompson, I think he's in one of those situations where he's really. I think he shares those guard positions, that guard role with Fred VanVleet. So for those of y'all just jumping in, we are creating our list of the top shooting guards or starting shooting guards within the NBA for this upcoming 25-26 season. And then we're going to rank where we think Jaden Ivey lands to start this season amongst the best shooting guards. All right, so we're going to get a number for him. Is he number 16? Is he number 20? All right, 22 maybe, because he is starting. And there's some teams that kind of have an ambiguous, we don't know who might get that starting nod. So we're going to list who we think maybe the top two potential candidates are. And then we're going to rank it all, and then we're going to put where we think Jaden Ivey is starting this season. But then we're going to rank at the end where we think Jaden Ivey is going to end on that ranking of the of the best shooting guards in the NBA. All right, because I think that's going to be a jump. It's going to be a jump. But we got to get through this listing first. So, and I want to do the list with y'all just so we can talk about it a little bit, because you might think that somebody else is who you think is going to be starting. But I think for the Houston Rockets, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a mix of Fred VanVleet and Amen Thompson. The better shooter very clearly is Fred VanVleet. And Amen Thompson probably has more bite in terms of being a on-ball, not just facilitator, but also someone who can have gravity and create opportunities in terms of just general playmaking. So I think Amen Thompson starts at point guard-ish. So I don't know who gets the official title, but they're going to share those guard positions. So let's just say Fred VanVleet is their starting shooting guard. And I'm going to rank him pretty high, if I'm honest with you. Because he can shoot lights out. He's a champion, proven to show up in the playoffs. Yeah, let's go Fred VanVleet. All right. Amen Thompson could also get listed as a shooting guard, but he's just not a shooter, and I think we all know that. He's not really an off-ball person at his best. So let's leave it there. Houston has a lack of scorers and shooters. You think he needs to be a shooting guard unless KD is a power forward? I think they have a lot of shooting. I've always said this. It's not about necessarily having a set guy who's known to be a shooter, like let's say a Sam Hauser, somebody like that. Sometimes it's about the quality of threes that you're getting that boosts the overall effective field goal percentage of your team in general, or your overall team three-point shooting efficiency as a collective. When you have Amen Thompson running the show and his gravity and his playmaking ability, because he can get downhill so readily, he's just so explosive with his athleticism, his body control, footwork, all those things. I think the quality of threes that this team gets is going to be off the charts. If you recall when Amen Thompson played with Jabari Smith Jr. in Summer League, when Amen Thompson was a rookie and Jabari was in his sophomore year or in his second year, all of a sudden Jabari looked like almost Auburn Jabari again because of the gravity of Amen Thompson. I think if Amen Thompson is at the point, all of a sudden now you have Fred VanVleet. I think he ends up shooting close to 40% from three. You add in Kevin Durant, knock down wide open threes, and then you also add Jabari Smith Jr., who I think also has a big jump in terms of his three-point shooting. Oh, it's a hummingbird. Okay, hummingbird. That's what's up. Flew up to my window. That's what's up. I got a hummingbird on my hands. It's for my daughter. But yeah, I think the quality of threes that Houston gets this season is going to be great, great quality of threes, with Amen Thompson at the point, running the point. I think he scares teams so much, a la Russell Westbrook early in his career, that teams have to load up to try to slow him down. They almost have to create a wall, because I don't think any one player, I appreciate it, man. I don't think any one player is going to be able to keep Amen Thompson out the paint. He's going to be too big, too strong, too explosive, too quick. And so I think teams load up, and Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant, and Jabari Smith Jr. get a whole bunch of wide open threes. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. We got Houston Rockets. Fred VanVleet is going to be the starting shooting guard. Indiana Pacers. So I think it was just recently talked about. Um, Rick Carlisle said in an interview that Benedict Mathurin is going to get the nod. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Benedict Mathurin uh, has always had talent. Has always had talent. Um, but has struggled. He has struggled to put it all together. When I say put it all together, similar to Cam Whitmore, you have to understand the game of basketball, there's so many things in play. And at the NBA level, you have so much talent, you cannot merely only be a scorer. You have to be able to do other things. And Benedict Mathurin really hasn't shown he can do other things, which is why he's found himself sometimes in the doghouse with Rick Carlisle, and sometimes he's also found himself on the outs in terms of rotation minutes. But the recent injury to Tyrese Halliburton has restructured things. Andrew Nembhard is their starting point guard. I think he gets. I think he's going to have a jump this year. He's going to be somebody when we do the point guard conversation, and Cade Cunningham. We're going to have to acknowledge where he's starting this season versus where he's going to end. He's going to get a whole lot more shot opportunities, playmaking opportunities. I think he takes a big jump, gets a lot of assists, scores a bit more, shows just what his potential is. And I think these are one of those years that he could redefine how we view him for the rest of his career. If he comes out this year like gangbusters and drops 18 and 6, right? 18 and 7 assists with 2 steals, and they get into the playoffs, maybe into the second round, I think all of a sudden his next contract is in the 30 plus million. That's what I think. Plain and simple. Right now, he's making 18, 19, and 20. If he could put up 18 and 7 and still be a good defender, leading them into the second round of the playoffs, looking like something between Brunson and Jalen Suggs, all of a sudden, I think we have to have a different conversation about Andrew Nembhard. And I think he could find himself highly sought after. But we'll see. All this to say is shooting guard, pretty cut and dry, Benedict Mathurin. Rick Carlisle made that clear. I'm going to put him down here. You know what? I'm going to be honest. He's got to be down here somewhere around Josh Green, Moses Moody, and Max Christie. This is his first time being able to go into a season as the legitimate starting shooting guard, anchoring that position. I think they gave him a full season to prove it. Benedict Mathurin. All right, let's move on. Yeah, Game 7, he kind of was the Pacers MVP. Yep, especially in the fourth quarter. Yes, he was. He is somebody who definitely shows up in big moments. He's not scared at all. And that is significant. When you're someone who other people know you're not going to shy away, that's big time. Now we got to get through this list kind of quickly because the time is flying by. Let me see. Let's see. Stay on point. All right. Los Angeles Clippers. I think it's Bradley Beal. Kind of clear, right? Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, everybody. He still has to be ranked close to the top. He's not Donovan Mitchell, but he ain't Klay Thompson. And I think back in a starting role, playing underneath probably the best coach in the NBA. I think it's pretty undisputed at this point. Tyronn Lue is the best X's and O's, adjustments, um, out of timeout, play caller, strategizer, schemes, playoff strategist. Like he's just and to combine all that, he's a motivator and he develops. He literally does it all. Him and his staff, uh, bar none, best in the league, tops in the league. And he's innovative, willing to try new things. He can adjust to different players' talents. He can put it all together. Veterans look great under Tyronn Lue. Bradley Beal has a bounce back year. As long as he's healthy, knock on wood, right? Bradley Beal's gonna have a bounce back year. I got him ranked close to the top. All right, let's move on. Los Angeles Lakers. Austin Reeves. We're kind of set there, right? Austin Reeves. Los Angeles Lakers. Um, Even though it's weird because you kind of got like this like Reeves, Luca. You probably start Jared Vanderbilt. It's kind of like an awkward lineup. I don't know if you. I mean Marcus Smart. You think? You think that they would go Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves, Luca, LeBron? It's kind of lightweight, a dope lineup. And then DeAndre Ayton. Even though they don't, man, Basketball References got to step their updates up. Oh yeah, they do have DeAndre Ayton here. Okay, they just don't have his contract on here. Okay, yeah, that's a hell of a starting five. That's a hell of a starting five. Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves, Luca, LeBron, and DeAndre Ayton. If I'm Marcus Smart, I'm coming in great shape, bro. I'm showing up in great shape because you ball out for the Lakers, bro. You play well there, bro. You how you're looked at throughout the league for the rest of your tenure, for the rest of your career, big time. And he's 31 years old in his prime. Yeah, yeah. So Austin Reeves, we got Austin Reeves at shooting guard. Let's do it. Is he better than Bradley Beal? What do you guys think? Is he better than Bradley Beal? Kind of going to do my ranking now as we're inserting these players. If you're just jumping on now, we're doing a listing of the top NBA shooting guards, and we are going to rank them and then place Jaden Ivey where we think he lands in the ranking for this upcoming 25-26 season. And then we're going to do at the very last, the very end, we're going to take a look at where we think Jaden Ivey lands at the end of this season in terms of the ranking. All right? We're on the Los Angeles Lakers, kind of moving slowly, but we're going to try to pick it up a little bit. We've got Austin Reeves. I think he's better than Clay. I don't know if he's better than Bradley Beal, but let's put him here. Austin Reeves. Man, I can't wait for the Laker-Clipper games. Those are going to be lit, bro. Those are going to be great. All right, let's move on from the Lakers. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies. Yo, KCP is about to go ham. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is going to look so good in Memphis next to Ja Morant. So good. Having a point of attack defender who's a legit defender who also gets out in transition. Yo, he's such a great fit. He might be, if I'm honest, he might be a better fit than Desmond Bane. He might be a better fit than Desmond Bane. If I just keep it a band with you. I think he's that good. I think he's that good. In terms of a 3-and-D guy next to superstars, yes. Him next to Ja Morant, playing defense on the perimeter. Then you got Jalen Wells, great size on the perimeter, small forward. Then you got Jaren Jackson and Zach Edey. Yo, that team might become a top 5 defense. Easy. Because you're still bringing guys off the bench like Brandon Clark, Cedric Howard, Vince Williams, Scottie Pippen Jr., Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama. They're going to have so many. They're going to have so many weapons on both ends. Memphis could sneaky be a top team in the playoffs next year. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on. Let me actually put him in here. Is KCP, would you put KCP over Clay and Dyson Daniels? His shooting is kind of falling off in Orlando, but I think that's because of the offensive system that they had in there. But I would say I'll put KCP. Um, you think he's better than Tobias? I mean, they're two totally different positions. Two totally different positions. Power forward and shooting guard. All right, so I wouldn't necessarily compare power forward to a shooting guard. Um, yeah. All right. So I'll put KCP. I'm gonna put him beneath Dyson Daniels. You know, I gotta put him beneath Fred VanVleet also. And Kobe White, Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton. I'll put him down here. I think I would take him over Simons just because of his defense. I'm a defense guy. You know what? I'm gonna put him down here. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I think it's gonna be a good debate where Jaden Ivey lands, um, in terms of the best players. Kentavious, Caldwell, Pope. All right, let's move on. Um, Here we go. Miami Heat. I think it's pretty simple. Got Tyler Hero. Where does he rank? He was an all-star, so we got to give him respect. Let's put him up here. Put him next to Bradley Beal. Both one-time all-stars. I think Bradley Beal might have been a couple times all-stars, but I think Bradley Beal has a higher ceiling, even if he's older. I think he's just better. Um, Tyler Hero. So he's gonna be near the top. All right. Let's keep ranking. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh shit! Did not mean to do that. Pull it back up. All right. The Milwaukee Bucks. I think it's Gary Trent Jr. He was a starter last year. Actually played really well in the playoffs. Had some big games for them. Had some big games. I think I gotta go with Gary Trent Jr. Um, Gary Harris. I like him. I think he's gonna be a strong player behind him. AJ Green as well. But Gary Trent he's just a better player. So we got to go with Gary Trent Jr. All right, Gary Trent Jr. I got to remember not to put my head down so let y'all see my face as we talk. Gary Trent Jr. Do you think he's better than KCP though? Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton, Cam Thomas. I'm gonna put him right beneath Cam Thomas. I think he's a better defender though. All right, let's go with. Put him right about here in the Colin Sexton, Anthony Simons, Contavious Caldwell Pope. All right. Gary Trent Jr. All right. Let's keep it pushing. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's easy. Put him at the top of the list. Anthony Edwards. I think his defense for sure allows him to be better than Donovan Mitchell. Though I would say offensively, they're pretty much neck and neck, which is like really a testament to just how damn good Donovan Mitchell is. People just, yeah, I'll just leave it there. And Anthony Edwards is also healthier too. So I would say Anthony Edwards above Donovan Mitchell, but it's close. Let's keep it moving. Let's go with New Orleans Pelicans. Who's their starting shooting guard? Jordan Poole is at the 1. Herb Jones is at the 2, I'm guessing. Because Trey Murphy the third is at the 3. Zion Williamson at the 4. Yves Missi is at the 5. So I think it's probably Herbert Jones playing shooting guard. One Rob from the Wolves. Yeah, hey, Rob Dillingham will have a chance to take that starting point guard role from Mike Conley, but he has to do that in training camp. All right, Herb Jones, I'd put him down here uh, with the KCPs, and he's really not that healthy. So yeah, I put him down here with Anthony Simons, Herb Jones. Okay. All right, let's keep it pushing. We've got the New York Knicks. Mikal Bridges. He's got to be pretty high. He's paid pretty high, and he performs pretty high. I think you got to put him up here. I'm gonna put him up here right beneath Tyler Hero, which almost feels like a shame because I would rather have Mikal Bridges than Tyler Hero. But Tyler Hero was an all-star last year. You got to give him props for that. Um, as his team's number one scorer. So I'm gonna put him beneath Hero, but above Austin Reeves because I think he's definitely better than Austin Reeves and Clay and the rest. Yeah, so Mikal Bridges is about 6'5.5" without shoes. So he's close to 6'7" with shoes, but he has a 7'2" wingspan. And he moves quick enough so he can defend 1, 2, 3. And sometimes if it's like a more slight four, on certain occasions. But I think they have him at shooting guard because they have OG Anunoby at the 3. And then they have what? Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, something like that. So yeah, I think that's where that lineup is. All right, let's move on. From the Knicks, we've got Oklahoma City. All right. Where's he at? LeGuins Dort, starting shooting guard. Where do you guys have him ranked? Herb Jones, Anthony Simons, KCP. I think he's a little bit more high level than KCP. Would you put him above Kobe White? I probably wouldn't. So let's put him right about here. Because he's just a super high level defender. What he does, he's a champion now too. What he did for that team defensively, it can't be overstated. All right. It was just tremendous. And he was knocking down threes regularly. So I got to go with LeGuins Dort. Got to give him all the props. Champion. Got to put him up there. All right. Let's keep it pushing. We've got the Orlando Magic. Oh, yeah. All right. Formerly of the Memphis Grizzlies, we've got Desmond Bane. Where would we rank Desmond Bane? I'd put him over Kobe White. Caruso's right there, though. But Caruso's not a starter. And he kind of also vacillates between the small forward and shooting guard spots. Because I think they bring Cason Wallace as the main guard off the bench. And then Caruso plays on the wing off the bench. Let's go. Ooh. Is Desmond Bane better than Austin Reeves? I think he's better than Clay at this point in his career. But is he better than Austin Reeves? Better three-point shooter. I don't think he's a better playmaker. So let's throw him in there. Let's show. You said close, but yes. You think he's better than Austin Reeves? Sandro, because you're letting me know, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with what you're saying. So let's go Desmond Bane. He's not better than Mikal Bridges, but better than Austin Reeves. Okay. Desmond Bane. Okay. All right. Now, let's continue this. Moving on from the Orlando Magic. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, so here's the thing. Does VJ Edgecombe end up starting? And this is a real conversation because I know they got Eric Gordon. We like him, right? I like him. Solid veteran, but he's 36. They got Tyrese Maxey as their kind of shoot first point guard. Paul George is at the 3. They haven't been able to re-sign, what's his name? My man from Houston, played the Pistons, Dallas Mavericks. What's his name? Shoot. Who am I thinking of? Y'all know who I'm thinking of. What's his name? Quentin Grimes. I think Quentin Grimes is a legitimate starting shooting guard in this league. So I'm going to put him on the list. But I don't know if he ends up getting re-signed. Because I think the 76ers are kind of a shit show. And they mess around and don't just do the right thing because they're already in that second apron between Paul George and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So they go the cheap route and lowball Quentin Grimes. He ends up taking a less deal someplace else just because he feels more respected and more wanted. And they get a chance to get out of having to pay him. So I think Quentin Grimes and VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe ends up starting, I think, because I don't think Jared McCain is going to start. He's still recovering from the injury. Should be ready for the regular season training camp. So let's go Quentin Grimes. I would say I'll put him down here with KCP. Yeah, I'm going to put him about here. Quentin Grimes. And I'm going to put VJ Edgecombe because I think he ends up getting the starting nod after they move on from him. And I got to put him kind of low because we don't know what we're going to get from him. So, VJ Edgecombe. All right, boom. Let's keep it pushing. Moving on from Philly, Phoenix, Devin Booker. It's kind of simple, really easy, cut and dry. Even though they did get Jalen Green. Okay, so this is a real. Do they put Jalen Green at the point? Do they put Booker at the point? Does it matter? Devin Booker's a shooting guard. And Phoenix is a shit show. So let's go Devin Booker. I think he's better than Beal, clearly. Better than Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell? No. So, Devin Booker. All right. Jalen Green. I'm curious where you guys have Jalen Green ranked as a shooting guard. Where do you have him ranked? Talent-wise, it's hard to deny his talent. Production-wise, it's easy to acknowledge where he's really at. But let me just pull it up real quick. Because despite what we may think about him, he still got buckets at 23 years old. He averaged 21 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists in year 4. All right. He's had 3 straight seasons. Well, 17 points per game as a rookie, 22 as a sophomore, 19.6, so close to 20 the year before last, and then last season, 21 points per game. His effective field goal shooting is over 50%. Shot 35% from 3, career best. But only 42% from the field. That's terrible. So where do we have Jalen Green? Okay, I'll put it this way. Would you rather have Jalen Green or Fred VanVleet? I think the Houston Rockets clearly chose Fred VanVleet, so we can't rank him above Fred VanVleet. Can you rank him above Kobe White? Can we rank him up above Kobe White in Chicago? You trust him more? You trust Kobe White more? I think I would too. Kobe White averaged very similar numbers. Yeah, very similar numbers last year. Averaged 20 points, 4.5 assists, 3.7 rebounds. Has a much higher effective field goal shooting percentage. Shot 37% from 3. So he has been an above average 3-point shooter his entire career. Shot 37% the past 3 years, 38% before that. Yeah, he is a sniper. Yeah. So I would have Kobe White. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy when you actually do the breakdown and you actually look at these players and you compare them. It's kind of crazy to see where they actually land. Do we think Jalen Green is better than Jaden Ivey? Ooh, spicy question right now. Spicy question right now. Spicy, bro. Spicy. Hell no, you say, Sandra. Okay. 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 I think I'm going to put him down here with Anthony Simons. That's what I'm going to do. Jalen Green, Anthony Simons. That's where I'm going to put him. All right, let's move on from Phoenix. That's going to be interesting. Portland, Shaden Sharp. Yo, Shaden Sharp is one of those dudes, if I'm honest with you, is going to start low. I think far lower on this list to begin the season than where he ends up. I think he ends up really high by the end of the season. But you got to go with production, what he's actually done. It's his first time starting. I can't put him that high. Got to put him somewhere around Benedict Mathurin. Um, I'm actually going to put him underneath Benedict Mathurin. Shaden Sharp. All right, above Max Christie, beneath Benedict Mathurin and Moses Moody and Josh Green, because he just hasn't started. He has not been a starter, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. All right, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Almost there. Sacramento Kings. I think it's pretty clear. Zach LaVine, right? Sharp is like a more consistent Jalen Green, but hasn't been healthy. But he's a crazy athlete, though. He is the Jalen Green level athlete, for sure. For sure. Moving on to Sacramento Kings. Zach LaVine. Where would y'all put Zach LaVine? Do you think Zach LaVine is better than Tyler Hero? Does it matter? I don't know if either of them, it matters to me. I think both of them are kind of empty calorie scorers, if I'm honest with you. Meaning that they don't necessarily, it doesn't equate to playoffs. It's a good weapon to have. Necessary, even. But they're not your leader. What do y'all think? All right, let's wrap this up. Here we go. I'm going to put him down here with Desmond Bane, Austin Reeves. I'll put him above Klay Thompson. Let's go. You know what? I'll put him beneath Tyler Hero, above Mikal Bridges, because he's been an all-star. So you got to give him props for that. Zach LaVine. All right. Let's move on. San Antonio Spurs, Devin Vassell, very clearly, starting shooting guard. Where would you put Devin Vassell? Is he better than Jaden Ivey? I would think so. Overall shooting consistency, but he doesn't necessarily defend like that. What did he average last season? He's only 24 years old. He only averaged 16, 4, and 3. Look, Devin Vassell averaged 16, 4, and 3. Let's compare him to Jaden Ivey real quick. Neither of them have been in the playoffs, right? Maybe not their fault. But Jaden Ivey averaged 17, 4, and 4. So Jaden Ivey actually produced more than Devin Vassell did. And he's getting paid $27 million over the next 4 years. Kind of begins to think about, like, kind of frame Jaden Ivey's potential worth. But all this to say, Devin Vassell, I would have Jaden Ivey's better than Devin Vassell. And I think Devin Vassell is better than Dort. So I'm going to leave it right about here. Yep, beneath Jaden Ivey. Devin Vassell. All right. Almost done. And then we're going to do a quick ranking. We will be done with this video. Toronto Raptors. Who is their starting shooting guard? RJ Barrett, I'm guessing. Next to Emmanuel Quickly, Scotty Barnes, and Brandon Ingram. It's got to be Barrett. Who's also getting paid $27 million. 27, 29. I would say RJ Barrett. I think he's pretty good. I think RJ Barrett is a pretty good player. If I'm honest with you, I would have RJ Barrett better than Klay Thompson. He's about at Austin Reeves' level, but paid a little bit more. Do you think the Lakers would rather have Austin Reeves or RJ Barrett? RJ Barrett, I think he got forgotten a little bit about being in Toronto, especially the past couple of years. Toronto hasn't been competitive. Oh, damn, Sandro, that's cold, bro. RJ Barrett's better than that, bro. He's better than that, bro. You gotta give him a little love. You gotta give him a little love, bro. All right, let me go finish this up and let's do this ranking because I got to go get the little one. Utah. Who's their starting shooting guard in Utah? Who's their starting shooting guard in Utah? I think Isaiah Collier, Keontae George. I think he's their starting shooting guard. I just do. I think that's pretty cut and dry. Um, where would you rank Keontae George? Last season, averaged about 17, 3.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists, which is really nice. Um, only started half the year, though. So they weren't necessarily sure if he's even a starter. But he gets buckets 17 and 5. Yeah, I think Keontae George, bring him down here with Herb Jones, Colin Sexton, Gary Trent. We'll put him down here with Colin Sexton. Keontae George. All right. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. We're almost done. Washington Wizards. Who's their starting shooting guard? CJ McCollum is at the 1. Is it Bilal Coulibaly? At the 2, is it Bub Carrington? I think they probably take Bub and bring him off the bench. It's more of a combo guard, which I think is more along the lines of who he is. I think Bilal Coulibaly starts at the shooting guard position because I think they also really like Keyshawn George at small forward. So I think that's what ends up playing out. Bilal Coulibaly, shooting guard. Yeah. Now, unless Cam Whitmore is a revelation, but he just doesn't defend. I just don't know how you put him next to CJ McCollum. So let's say Bilal Coulibaly. I like him a lot. What did he end up averaging last season? See, these are the deep dives. I be staying in deep dives, y'all. I appreciate those who stayed this long. It's been a long ass, ranking, but I want to do it with you. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a part 2. We did our ranking. Bilal Coulibaly only averaged 12, 5, and 3.5. Came on the Wizards for real. That boy, nice. Yeah, no, he's nice. He's nice, but he just doesn't defend, and he doesn't rebound, and he doesn't get assists, and he doesn't do much off the ball. He's kind of in that Benedict Mathurin role, which I alluded to earlier. You got to be able to do more stuff. Let me see. I would say Bilal Coulibaly lands for me. He started all last year. I'd say around the Cam Thomas, better than Josh Green. I think he takes a jump next year. Coulibaly. All right. So we've got our ranking of top shooting guards. We got Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Tyler Hero, Zach LaVine. Let me put some numbers next to these guys so we can. 1, we've got Anthony Edwards. Okay. 2, Donovan Mitchell. 3, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. At 4, Tyler Hero. At 5. Let's go with this. All right, then we got Zach LaVine at 6, Mikal Bridges 7, Desmond Bane 8, Austin Reeves 9, R.J. Barrett 10, Klay Thompson 11, Dyson Daniels 12, Fred VanVleet 13, Kobe White 14, Jaden Ivey at number 15. That's where I've got him. That's where I've got him. And I'm going to try to put my list in the description box so you guys have it. And let me know where you think Jaden Ivey lands. If that's actually where you think he is to start this year, do you have him higher or lower? You can let me know in the comment section once I post this, and we can talk about it there. But the next video is going to be, where do we think Jaden Ivey ends next season? We got Devin Vassell at 16, LeGuins Dort 17, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope 18, Quentin Grimes 19, Anthony Simons 20. Jalen Green, 21. Herb Jones, 22. Colin Sexton, 23. Keontae George, 24. Gary Trent Jr., 25. Cam Thomas, 26. Bilal Coulibaly, 27. Josh Green, 28. Moses Moody, 29. Benedict Mathurin, 30. Shaden Sharp, 31. Max Christie, 32. Christian Brown, 33. And lastly, VJ Edgecombe, 34. Those are our rankings. Top shooting guards in the NBA for the beginning of the 25-26 season. Appreciate y'all staying on this. Woo, man. It was fun. It was long as hell. Gave us something to talk about in the offseason. I told y'all, the name of the channel, The Rock Never Stops. There's always something to talk about. Always something to talk about. If you stayed with me to the end of this video, I want you to put 2 basketballs in your comment in the comment section once I post. Put 2 basketballs, and whatever question you want to ask me, I will answer. If you got 2 basketballs in your comment, stay with me to the end of this video. I'm going to answer whatever question you have for me in the comment section once I post this video. But with that, it's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Appreciate y'all for being on with me on this live. Definitely smash the like button for me. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing for the channel. Really helps out with the numbers, analytics, all those different things. And it also tells YouTube you want to be notified for the next live that I'm going to do tomorrow morning on where does Jaden Ivey end in terms of ranking at the end of the season, at the end of this coming season. Does he stay at 15? What do the rankings even look like? We're gonna project that and going through this list again. I'm gonna post a list in the description box as well. All right, y'all. Y'all be smooth. I'm gonna get at y'all later.